What's up, YouTube? Hey, finally got the Lander 2 here on the bench, and I am so excited to talk about this knife. It is an amazing, amazing knife. I mean, just the materials, the what they offer for it, the geometry on it. I mean, you got a little bit thicker of a spine, but it comes down to a really nice thin edge, 20-degree bevels. I mean, the cage ball bearings, and there's a couple little tricks that I learned on the way of owning this knife. Now, as you could tell, this knife is super smooth. It has those cage ball bearings inside of it, and they just are amazing. Now, I just want to go over the box content a little bit because I think the box content is very important because I think what Knafs is doing is should have been and should be a standard among other knife companies, in my opinion. And that's just not saying because, you know, I think they're a great company or anything like that. I just think that what they're doing is actually an amazing thing. I mean, for example, this is what I mean. They give you this whole nice pamphlet, and I had it upside down. This whole nice pamphlet talking about what T's, for torque screws, what T6, T8s you need for what. They show you where the pivot screws are. They show you the cage ball bearings. They show you everything and how to fully disassemble the knife. And it's a great little instruction guide on how to actually maintain and take care of your knife. They want you to take care of your knife. They want you to maintain it. And they talk about the fast swap scales, which is carried over from the Lander 1. Also, they talk about how to clean it. They give advice. They give advice on where and how you should sharpen it. And they say they put this on 20 degrees per side. They maybe a little bit of oil, thread locker, stuff like that. Absolutely amazing. And then another thing which I think that they did that's really cool of them is they put in extra Omega springs or extra springs in here and extra hardware. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I don't know how many times I've lost hardware. It's nice knowing that I have all that extra stuff. But enough of that. We're gonna get that. I just wanted to kind of, give credit where credit is due because that is, to me, that's the sign of a company that cares versus a sign of a company that just wants to sell you a knife. But we're not going to get into that. Sorry if I sound a little stuffy, a little under the weather, nothing major, just a little cold. So what do we got here? We got a just over 3, it's like around 3¼ inch blade, just over 4-inch handle, nice deep carry pocket clip. Where is my cloth? Here, we'll just use this. This will be more than representative of what it's like in your pants pocket. Just got to get this cloth. There it is. So, as you can see, it rides nice and deep in the pocket, and you can't even tell it's even there, if depending on how you look at it. Can't even tell it's even there, which is absolutely awesome. It's got dual thumb studs. It's got a reversible pocket clip, so any of you lefties out there, you are perfectly fine with this. It has S35 VN blade, which I have not been the biggest S35 VN fan, but so far this is turning my head and changing my mind on it. You got the same nice dual thumb stud. You got the same similar thumb studs that I liked on the Lander 1. You got perfect centering. You got a little over 100-inch thick. It's like a 1100-inch thick steel up here. I measured it earlier, and it comes down to around like a 26-ish thou behind the edge, which, I mean, it could be even a little bit skinnier because it's not always the easiest to get in there with calipers, and obviously there's a little taper, so if I don't get 100%, it's not 100%. This has the fast swap scales on it, so you can just remove these, take the scale off, swap out new scales. They are coming out with some new scales. If you go check out Lander or Knafs website, they have some scales already that they're putting up there, which is absolutely awesome. Right now, the two main models you can get are this one in the blue with the satin blade, which I'm more of a satin blade fan, or all black with the black satin blade as well. Now, this is made by Kaiser in China, so Kaiser is an OEM. Now, what's cool about the Kaiser one, though, is that inside of here, you actually have different holes, so you can actually change the tension of the spring. This is whatever came out stock, and for me, it's perfectly fine. I like it a lot at the stock, but you know, if you want a little bit lighter or not. Now, my question is for Mr. Ben. Do you like front flippers? Because you actually created a front flipper here. So I don't know if he intentionally made that, but yeah, there's a front. You could front flip it, you know. And so one thing I will say about their version of the crossbar lock is you don't have to put both hands on it to have it shut. And what I mean by that is that you can actually just use your thumb and it'll shut, or you can just use your finger and it'll shut. And that's kind of nice because sometimes if you got a cut on your hand, and you know, even just opening it, depending on how you want to open it up and stuff, can make a difference. Speaking of hands, how does it feel in the hand? It feels absolutely awesome in the hand. You got easily a nice 4-finger grip with a little bit extra. I have extra large size hands. This clip does not bother me in any way. I mean, I could bear down and I don't even feel the clip, which is nice. You could feel, I mean, all clips you could feel a little bit, but what I mean is it doesn't feel like it's a hot spot. It's not burning, anything of that nature. So that's really nice. I mean, there's not much else to say about this knife. So let's do some size comparisons. Sorry. So we have the Lander 1. Now, the Lander 1 has been in my EDC pouch, which I thought I had it right here, but I don't have it right next to me, but just fine. But I've kept this knife in my EDC pouch. I use it here and there. You know, I put it in my 5th pocket sometimes, but this is the Lander 1. As you can tell, it definitely is it definitely is a smaller knife. I mean, blade, you know, but that's the nice thing about the Lander 1 is that it is a smaller knife. It's nice because it'll fit in the 5th pocket or fit in your bag. Let's get the elephant out of the room and compare it to the Benchmade bug out. So you have two. And before anyone says, oh, they're so similar in so many ways, they're not. This is around, you know, what was it? 0.8 of an ounce, and this is just around, was it 2 ounces, if I remember right? I measured it, I completely forgot, so I'm not going to say it. But there is a difference in weight, but it's not like it's so drastically different. Plus, in the hand, you know, it is a solid knife, but as you could tell, you do get a little more handle. The way the ergos are on this are a little bit different. The ergos in this are very hand filling, which is nice in a good way, and you actually get a little bit extra in the tip if you can kind of compare the 2 as far as stock wise. I mean, the bug out is very skinny. It's probably one of the skinniest, not the skinniest knife, but one of the skinniest knives on the market. And you know, the Knafs keeps right up with it. Blade stockness, yes, the blade stock on the bug out is technically a little bit thinner, but it's not like this is grossly bigger. It's just a little bit bigger, which honestly sometimes might actually come more in handy, especially with depending on certain tasks. I think for size comparisons, those are the 2 that I'm gonna do because a lot of, you know, people probably want to see it next to the Lander 1 and everything else. Now, my overall thoughts of this should, you know, it's not the I call it a front flipper, but it really is like one of those front flippers that you got to kind of do on your own. My official thoughts on this are it is a phenomenal knife. I mean, it is just, it works well. It's restoring my faith in S35VN. I was never the biggest fan of S35VN. I had a few knives in it, and it just didn't seem to last for an edge retention, but this one actually is lasting really nicely. It carries amazing in the pocket. It's so easy to deploy and use, and it is just rock solid. I mean, I am cranking on this thing and I cannot get it to move, and you know, it's just a solid knife. Ben, you definitely made something great. What I also love about it is the G10 handles, even though it's G10. So if you saw my last video, or I don't know which one's coming out first, but I took these off a Vostead, and these are very, very smooth G10, where that actual texturing is nice and it helps in the hand. It doesn't feel like that's a problem I have sometimes, like with certain G10s, and even like the two other brand of knives that I have, where one is in the uh, the Gravery scales and one's in the G10 scales. And the G10 is, I like the Gravery for the texture, but I like the G10 for the strength. This takes care of that problem. This is like, you have the strength of the G10, but you have that nice grip on there. It almost, dare I say, it almost feels like a micarta in some way, because I've had some micarta scales where they kind of have this like somewhat grippier texture, but I'm just babbling on now at this point. If you guys could check out the Lander 2, they're absolutely awesome. I mean, let me know what you guys think. If you guys have the Lander 2, let me know if you're like, I decided to go with the Lander 1, wasn't sure if I wanted to go with the Lander 2. I fully recommend it. I think it's great. I think I'm going to do a crossing blades against the Lander 1 and Lander 2. Um, that's a afterthought. I'll think about that. Anyways, take care, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And take care of yourself. Bye.